Hello there. While we're gearing up to leave the European Union, you get the distinct impression that our government intends to leave our defence forces on the wrong side of the Brexit fence. Throughout this whole Brexit process, Theresa May has been stressing the importance of the UK bolstering the EU defences, and has refused to do anything other than commit our forces directly to the defence of Europe. Any Brexiteer worth their salt knew that an EU army, navy and air force was in the grand plans, but no one seems to have found the European Union off switch in the Ministry of Defence. Far from withdrawing from the EU, the UK seems hell-bent on ever closer defence union, without, it seems, attempting to gain anything in return, not that that would be acceptable anyway. Writing in Brexit Central, Peter Lyon, a research executive at the cross-party grassroots campaign Get Britain Out, says that the level of involvement the government seems comfortable to commit to would require us to make substantial payments to the EU to adhere to single market regulations in the sphere of defence, as well as requiring us to concede a degree of military decision-making power to Brussels. And he quotes Major General Julian Thompson, who said it would bind the UK to collective decision-making, heavily controlled by the EU Commission. And Peter Lyon ends by saying, "As we get Britain out of the EU, Britain must be very wary of any cooperation which damages our military independence, threatens the role of NATO, and requires considerable sums of money. Otherwise, the likelihood is the UK will end up becoming involved in a European army by the back door. This would be totally unacceptable at a time of huge defence cuts by our own government, depleting our domestic capabilities." With talk of more armed forces cuts to come, such as to the Royal Marines, just as the UK regains control over its future, you have to wonder what is going on here. It seems to me that our defence capabilities are definitely part of a Brexit sweetener, and they should not be. Now, that arch-Remainer Nick Clegg has been forced to blast his own side, the Eurocrats that is, for underestimating national pride and patriotism, reports The Sun. Talking to a room full of Eurocrats, Nick Clegg said that their sneering disregard for the politics of identity and patriotism had fuelled Brexit, and said that it was a terrible misreading of what actually makes people tick. He also said, though, that UK MPs have a democratic duty to block Brexit, and that he had not given up hope that on the 59th second of the 11th hour it could be stopped. He does like to live in cloud cuckoo land, doesn't he? According to the chief executive of the UK's Financial Conduct Authority, Andrew Bailey, the EU should stop wasting time and get a deal on the table that includes financial services, or face serious consequences for global markets, reports The Telegraph. And like others have said before, he pointed to the financial services deal that was included in the now shelved Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership deal between the EU and the USA, which Michel Barnier himself had a big hand in. Speaking at a Future of the City dinner, he said, "In the approach the EU took to the TTIP negotiations with the US, the EU pursued a trade agreement which included provision for financial services. The US wasn't ready for such a move, but this doesn't take away from the fact that, to its credit, the EU proposed such an arrangement." He also criticised the EU negotiators' stance of flatly refusing to include financial services in any future UK-EU deal, saying, "If, as a response to Brexit, the EU wishes to change the status quo, it would amount to a decision to close market access, not a decision about whether to open it. it would also be a decision to disconnect the EU from the benefits of global markets. The FCA head also said that the EU Commission has already indicated it wants a deep regulatory partnership with the UK on fishing grounds, saying, "If it is possible to envisage a partnership agreement on fishing based on convergence of regimes, of course it is possible to have open financial markets and mutual recognition of regulatory regimes." And the Times says, Andrew Bailey, Chief Executive of the Financial Conduct Authority, also warned that Europe could have more to lose than the UK if the country was to leave the EU with no deal. And City AM quotes the head of the City UK, Miles Chellick, saying, "Andrew Bailey is absolutely right to underline the importance of a Brexit deal with mutual regulatory recognition at its heart. His can-do approach to how this could work in practice underlines the foresight and agility with which British regulators have approached this challenge. We look forward to a similar commitment of cooperation from European counterparts on this matter." And finally, Remain-minded Tory MP Anna Soubry threw a bit of a wobbly yesterday. It seems that she, just like Jacob Rees-Mogg, wants the government to exercise a bit of vertebrae. A couple of days ago, ReesMogg said that the government needed to slightly stiffen its backbone in its negotiations with the EU. But Anna Soubry wants Theresa May to get a spine and kick some 35 hard ideological Brexiteers out of the party, including our Jacob, it seems. Talking to Newsnight, the MP for Broxtowe said, "My front bench is in hock to 35 hard ideological Brexiteers who are not Tories. They are not the Tory party I joined 40 years ago, and it is about time Theresa stood up to them and slung them out. They have taken down Major, they took down Cameron, two great leaders, neither of whom stood up to them." She also said that, "If it comes to it, I am not going to stay in a party which has been taken over by the likes of Jacob Rees-Mogg and Boris Johnson. They are not proper Conservatives. Unless Theresa stands up and sees off these people, she is in real danger of losing huge swathes of not just the Parliamentary Party, but the Conservative Party. That is the risk that she runs. She thinks she can pander to 35, forgetting there is a much larger group who are getting sick and tired of this." Message to Anna: this is not about pandering to some MPs. It's about executing the will of the people properly. And as the pro-Brexit Lord Lamont said, that is a bit ridiculous, and she does tend to go over the top. So, goodbye Anna, and please do the right thing if you leave the Conservatives by resigning your seat too. Let's get a lever in there. After all, the vote in Broxtowe was 54.6% to leave and 45.4% to remain. What do you think? Please leave a comment below. Thank you. Please do like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.